played 9 new cozy games in the month of October. And in today's video, I'm going to be giving you my most honest review of all of them. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Peyton. It is nice to meet you, it is nice to see you, and welcome to the corner. It is my very favorite time of the month. It is the time that I sit here and I recount all of the cozy games that I tried throughout the month that we're finishing. Now, in case you're new to my channel, I do this every single month, and I like to give what I call my first impressions reviews. As because I'm covering so many games, I'm not able to fully 100% any of the games, but I play them for several hours, enough to really give you a concrete list of pros and cons, and my overall thoughts from what my first impressions were like. And hopefully from a list of pros and cons, you can get a better idea of what games might be worth it for you, and which ones may be worth a skip. As always, I just want to say that most of the games in today's video were very kindly gifted to me, so thank you so much to the game developers and publishers who gave me the opportunity to play these games and give them a fair review. Now, as you'll see in today's video, especially, I think just because I am gifted a game, it does not change my opinion. It does not make me like the game more or anything like that. I am giving you my honest opinions, but for full transparency, I will let you know which of the games were gifted as we get through the video. They're also noted in the description as well. Before we get into it, please be sure to click the lovely little like button, as well as subscribe for more cozy, chaotic content. And if you want to see me play cozy games live, many of these games I played on live stream. Be sure to check out my live streams, which happen right here on YouTube several times a week. We would absolutely love to see you at a stream. Okay, I will shut up. We got lots of games to review, so let's get into it. Now, the majority of the games on the list are games that came out in October. However, some of them are ones that came out in September, but because it was a crazy month, I was a little bit late to the party. The first game on the list is one that came out in September, and this game is called Stick to the Plan. You can play Stick to the Plan on PC, Mac, and as of today, they just teased that it will be coming to Nintendo Switch some point soon. My experience with Stick to the Plan wasn't played entirely on my Steam Deck, and it ran great on there. This was one of the games on the list that I was very kindly gifted, so thank you so much to Dead Pixel Tales for giving me the key to check out this game. Before I get into my pros and my cons, let me tell you a little bit about this game in case you're unfamiliar. Stick to the Plan is a cozy and soothing puzzle game that takes you on a journey with Roberto, an adorable dog with a love for very long sticks. The gameplay is simple. All you need to do is avoid obstacles and chart a path toward the goal. But beware, it's not as easy as it appears, because you need to navigate the puzzle using your incredibly long stick. You'll need to move, rotate, pick up, and drop your stick in order to solve the puzzle. You'll explore 5 unique locations and solve more than 60 puzzles, each one with its own set of challenges and surprises. And along the way, you'll uncover the heartwarming story of Roberto through illustrated vignettes, and then discover the reason behind his quest for the perfect stick in the first place. Now that I've told you a little bit about the game, let's get started with my pros. Honestly, the whole game was like kind of a pro for me. More and more recently, I am finding that the cozy puzzle games are becoming some of my absolute favorites, and this one has definitely been one of my favorite puzzle games of the year so far. And I think that this one really exceeded my expectations, because I thought it was going to just be simple and cute and that's it. But there really is so much more to this game. This game really does have so much charm and so much personality to it. It is way more than the simple game I thought it to be, which is that you're a dog, you've got a stick, and you have to get to the other side of the puzzle. It is that, but it also takes you through a story without words. Just really cute little animation cutscenes and changes of scenery. And even though it's simple, it is very effective. You'll go on a journey as Roberto the dog, where you start from roaming the streets, to being caught and having to escape from a dog pound, to more and more different landscapes. and each landscape has a different vibe and a different puzzle mechanic that is added. And yet, with every new mechanic that is added, the game continues to keep its main goal simple and clear: get Roberto and his stick to the paw print on the other side of the puzzle. I also will say I really love how challenging this game is, while it still manages to keep a relaxing environment. I definitely have gotten a lot of Steam achievements for hitting things on accident with my stick too many times, which shows you that it really isn't as easy as it looks. And I also want to note that I enjoy that you have the option to backtrack your steps and restart the puzzle easily if you need to and get stuck like I did. Now that you've heard the pros, let's move on to my cons. For Stick to the Plan, I just have one con, and the only con that I have is I wish there was a hint system. Because I do think that these puzzles can get pretty complex and mess with your head. And for me, I really think adding a hint component to a puzzle game makes it feel infinitely cozier, so it doesn't feel like you're doomed and you're stuck on this one level that you're absolutely never going to get out of. I think that even if you're not a player who wants to use the hints, I just feel like having them is always a nice option, so I would have loved to see that in this one just for some of those moments where I got really stuck. But overall, I really loved Stick to the Plan, and it has been one of my favorite games to play throughout the month. I kind of think this is a perfect cozy puzzle game. It has an adorable style, an interesting yet simple premise to follow, and it's way more complex than it looks and very sweet at its heart. The next game on the list is another one that actually came out in September, but I'm just getting to it now. This game is called Sugar Shack, and Sugar Shack is available to play on PC, and I played it entirely on my Steam Deck, and it worked okay. This was another game that was very kindly gifted to me, so thank you so much to Mad Life Divertisement for giving me the key to check this one out. In case you haven't heard about Sugar Shack, let me tell you a little bit about this game. Sugar Shack is a maple syrup management game and world crafter set in a cozy, magical forest inspired by Quebec lore and art. In the game, there are hungry villagers with endless sweet tooths that make their way to the legendary shack. You'll have to grab some friends, fire up the boiler, and let the syrup flow. Now that I've told you a little bit about the game, let's start out with my pros. My biggest pro is that I really like the premise of this game. I do think there's something really unique about having a maple syrup making and restaurant management game. I also really love that this game lets you unlock more and more in the world, tile by tile, and it's customizable, so you can place the tiles wherever you'd like. And I also will note that I really enjoyed the restaurant aspect of this game. It didn't feel like it was too chaotic, like this was Diner Dash Extreme, but it also wasn't too simplistic either. Other than that, I also really enjoyed the art style of the world, mainly just the outdoor landscape with the really cozy snow. But honestly, I have to say that's about all I liked in this game. Now that I've told you about the pros, let's get into my cons. I didn't really love the look of anything other than the snow. This is one out of several games this month where I thought the cover art, like the advertisement of the game, that art I liked a lot better than what was actually shown in the game. Specifically, the characters just felt like kind of creepy looking to me, and they functioned a little strangely. And based off of the cover art, I was just expecting a little bit more of like a cutesy experience. I also didn't really enjoy that there didn't seem to be much customization as far as your character went. But I will say my main issue with the game wasn't how it looked, it was that there were many points of pure frustration. Mainly, you don't have an inventory in this game, and you can literally just pick up one item at a time until you get a basket, which then only allows you to pick up 3 stacks of items at a time. But the basket isn't something you just have, it's not like a tool that you could equip. You have to pick up the basket to then pick up your singular item and go all the way back to your storage, which is by your Sugar Shack, and it is just a very tedious process. You also have to keep track of where you leave your basket, as many times I completely forgot where the heck I put it. Also, your tools can do not a whole lot when you first start out, and it's a little confusing on what you can actually do. There's a bunch of wood piles, but you can't hit them for some reason. Like, your tool isn't strong enough for the pile of wood on the ground, but somehow your tool is completely fine for certain trees, but not other. And it was hard for me to distinguish the logic of what I could handle in the beginning of the game versus what I was going to be upgrading to. Other than this, there is a major lack of story and guidance in the game across the board. The game starts out with you getting pushed out of a plane, and suddenly the devil is making you run a sugar shack. And admittedly, I didn't get very far into this game hour-wise, but so far, none of the dots ever connected for me, and most of my gameplay, I struggled to figure out what I was meant to be doing and why I was doing it. Overall, I thought that the game premise was so much more exciting than the actual execution. I experienced a lot of bugs while playing the game, and like I said, I felt like there were just a lot of points that kind of just made me frustrated. Definitely wasn't giving me the experience I was hoping, and while I can appreciate the ideas in the game, it's not one I have to say I'll be picking up again soon. Moving on to our next game on the list, this game is called Sunrise's Order. And Sunrise's Order is currently available to play on PC, and I played the whole thing on my Steam Deck, and it ran great on there. This was another game that was very kindly gifted to me, so thank you so much to Mystic Studio for sending me the key to check this one out. Let me start off by telling you a little bit about this game. Sunrise's Order is a farm simulation game in which the player finds themselves alone on an island, and it's their goal to be an accomplished small farmer. Using a delivery service called Amazon to support themselves, it's the farmer's job to grow their reputation and build up their small farm. With Amazon, you'll be able to purchase everything you need to succeed in your quest to become a successful small farmer. You'll even be able to use different Amazon subscriptions that'll make your life much easier, with the most popular being called Amazon Express. Along with that, you'll have all of the other classic farming sim stuff like fishing, cooking, different seasons, and more. Now that you've heard a bit about the game, let's get into my pros. My biggest pro for this game is I really love the inventive idea of having the game be centered around an Amazon-like company. I really think it's a great way to modernize a farming sim, and for sure gives the game some specific intrigue. The Amazon mechanic is fun, and I like that it serves as a way to not just order items, but to also sell items based off of customer requests as well. A pro I think for this game is that it is definitely beginner friendly. It is easy to understand, especially if you've never played a farming sim before, while still giving you a decent amount of room to work with that's not super overwhelming. But I'm gonna be honest, that's about all I enjoyed in this game. Now that you've heard my pros, let's get into my cons. My main con with this game is just, it felt so empty. If you don't like NPCs, if you don't want to deal with people, if you don't want to talk to anybody, this might be the farming sim for you. As you are the only person, there are no other people, you are the sole existent on this place you're in, other than the animals that you can acquire, which are very cute, and also the Amazon requests that you get, but you don't ever see even like pictures of what those people look like, so it is just you all by yourself, and you might prefer that, but for me, characters are some of my favorite parts of games like this, so I was really disappointed to see us all by ourselves. And another con I have is that I was hoping to see more of a story with the Amazon mechanic. I was hoping it kind of would be some level of commentary on the company itself, similar to how Stardew Valley has with JojaMart, where in that game you're a farmer that can either choose to shop locally or support the huge corporation, and there are pros and cons to both things. Maybe you get a little bit of that later on, but from what I experienced, the main story is just about you wanting to start a new life on the farm, and that's pretty much it. Other than that, I also didn't really love how simple everything looked style-wise, specifically when it came to the art. This was another one. I kinda just feel like the cover art was stronger than the actual art that was in the game, as it felt like more cutesier, more vibrant, and I just felt like the actual art and the style in the game was quite simple. And the gameplay itself was also very simple, and I just was hungry for a bit more. Overall, I don't think this is a bad farming sim at all, and in fact, I would recommend this game to beginners who are just starting out with farming sim games. But for me, as a bit more of an experienced farming sim person, this one was just lacking the extra detail and intrigue that I wanted it to have. The next game on the list has been one of my most highly anticipated games, so it was really exciting to finally get to play it and see if it lived up to my expectations. This game is called A Tiny Sticker Tale, and you can play A Tiny Sticker Tale on PC, Mac, and Nintendo Switch. And I played this one entirely on my Steam Deck, and it ran great. And this was another game that was very kindly gifted to me, so thank you so much to Ogre Pixel for sending me the key to check out this game. Let me tell you a little bit about what this game is about. A Tiny Sticker Tale is a cozy, miniature adventure about changing the world using the power of stickers. In A Tiny Sticker Tale, you'll get to take anything from the world around you and turn it into a sticker. And then you'll use your creativity to stick it back in different places, solving puzzles, and helping your new friends. You'll step into the tiny boots of Flynn the donkey, and you'll journey across Figori Island, discovering the vibrant quests that will require the power of a very special magical sticker album. The game will feature a relaxing environment with a cozy art style and soothing music to aid you on your sticker placing journey. Now that I've told you about the game, let's get into my pros. My number one pro is that I love the concept and the style of this game so very much. It takes the idea of using stickers as a way to explore and solve puzzles, and it really runs with it. While the gameplay mechanic is very simple, look for stickers, place them in your sticker book, and use them in other areas, it's actually not as easy as you think it would be. Sometimes you really need to interact with the stickers to unlock your next task, whether that be through fishing, shooting an arrow, altering the weather, and more. I also really love the art style and character design of this game. This one is undoubtedly cozy in its look and its feel, and I think most people could find some level of joy just by looking at the characters. It may be a puzzle game, but this game also manages to provide a sense of relaxation overall through its visuals and its music, which I thought was very effective. And I also really enjoyed the pieces of narrative story that we get through the experience via short cutscenes that come up every so often. There are not many of these moments in the game, but when they happen, it is very sweet, and most of the tasks you need to do in the game are also very sweet and wholesome in general. I also like that in this game there is a sticker collection book where you can keep track of every single sticker that is in the game, both to help you find things easier, and also to benefit you if you're a completionist and your aim is to find every single sticker possible. Now that I've told you about the pros, let's get into my cons for this game. My biggest con for the game is just that I wanted more. I'm greedy, and I just wanted a little bit more. I wanted a bit more as far as the length of the game went, as you can pretty much finish this game in 2 hours if you're really good at figuring out the puzzles, and maybe like 3 if you get stuck on some of the puzzles. And I think that's pretty short, as well as I also wanted just a little bit more depth to the game. I really loved the moments of story that we get, but I feel like they came kind of later in the game, and I wanted to feel a strong sense of purpose. I also enjoyed the characters in the game, but I do think they could have more going on for them as well. My only other con is that there is a hint system in the game, but I didn't find it particularly helpful whenever I needed it, as it's just this one NPC that you can use for help, and sometimes she'll just say the same line over and over and over again, which I found to be very general, and it didn't really assist me in some of the moments I was really stuck. But overall, I actually really enjoyed my experience playing A Tiny Sticker Tale. It was indeed a tiny tale, but it was one that I thought was very worth taking, and I did like playing it throughout. I do think the concept is very inventive, but it was very cozy and very sweet. The next game on the list was a game, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know how I was gonna feel about it, and this is one of the most unique cozy games I played this month for sure. This game is called CATTAILS WILDWOOD Story, and you can play this game on PC, Mac, and Nintendo Switch will be coming at a later date. I played this game both on my PC and on my Steam Deck, and it ran great on both. This game was also very kindly gifted to me, so thank you so much to Falcon Development for sending me the key to check out this game. Let me start off by telling you a little bit about this game in case you've missed it. In CATTAILS WILDWOOD Story, you will become a cat. In this cozy life sim RPG, you will lead your cat colony into the mysterious Wildwood. In the game, you'll hunt prey, harvest herbs, collect magical treasures, and defend your new home from intruders. You'll also be able to build a thriving town to recruit new cats, get to know your residents, fall in love, and even raise a litter of kittens of your own. From gardening to decorating your house or your cat, or getting to marry the 20+ eligible cat bachelors and bachelorettes, there is a lot to do in this cat-filled world. Now that I've told you about the game, let's get started with my pros. I'm gonna be honest, this game was a lot different than I thought it would be. And for a totally better reason. I really love that there is so much to do in this game and how unique it feels. There is light farming in the game, but it's really not about the farming. It's about exploration, foraging, hunting, and building relationships with other cats. I love that the map in this game is huge and intricate. There are so many areas to explore, and the biomes are really interesting. From valleys and mountains to swamps and volcanoes, there's definitely a lot to see. I also found the storyline of the game to be very present, clear, and I think that they do a very good job of explaining what is actually going on without being too much, but also without explaining anything at all. Nice balance. I also have to note the customization in the game is wild in the best way. I made my cat look absolutely insane, which was a blast. And you can also customize your colony name, where buildings will go, and your own home, which I thought was so much fun. And I also have to say, the combat and the hunting in the game was not super intense, where it made me feel uncomfortable, or like I couldn't still consider it a cozy experience. And actually, the hunting the rats and the other creatures was wildly fun, especially coming from someone that normally doesn't like the hunting parts of games. I also really enjoy the mechanic of recruiting cats to your colony to gain more skills and features, as well as the cats themselves, because they all feel really interesting and unique, and they are very cute. Notably, I have to say the mines were also very fun, and while I only experienced one festival in my short playtime so far, I enjoyed the mini games and items that came along with it so much that I can't wait for more. Now that you've heard my pros, let's get into my cons for this game. My biggest con is that when you pass out in the game, either from hunger or from losing in combat, you lose a ridiculous amount of items. They really punish you for failing in this game. There have been many sad foraging trips I've taken where I've lost nearly everything because I forgot to feed myself. Other than that, one other tiny con I have is that I wish there was a shipping bin and you didn't have to go into town. It's not that big of a deal, but I've just played so many games with a shipping bin component and I just always find it to be a little bit more seamless. But overall, this game completely exceeded my expectations. My thoughts going into this was, it's gonna be a cute game with cats in it. It's gonna be whatever, it's gonna be fine. I had so much fun playing this game. It really feels unique and different, and it's one that I'm excited to see more of because I know I haven't gotten to experience everything quite yet, but I'm excited to see it all. The next game on the list is my cozy but chaotic entry for you. This game is called Pizza Possum, and you can play Pizza Possum on like all of the stuff. You can play it on PC, on Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo Switch. I played this one on PC, and it ran great. This one was also one that was very kindly gifted to me, so thank you so much to Raw Fury for sending me the key to check this one out. Let me get started by telling you about Pizza Possum in case you haven't heard about it. Pizza Possum is a bite-sized, arcade-style, hide-and-seek action game. You get to play as an irresistible, bloatable possum who really just wants to find some food. In the game, you'll have to escape or distract dog patrols using a wide range of tools, from smoke bombs to punching gloves. You'll even need to chase your neighbors to get them to drop more food for you. Pretty much, it's a simple game. You're a possum, and it's your job to eat as much as you can, run, hide, and then eat some more. Now that I've told you about the game, let's get started with my pros. This game was exactly what I anticipated, but then like 10 times more. This game honestly is one of the most fun and chaotic times I think a cozy gamer could have. I played this one for one of my members-only live streams, and I just could not stop laughing the entire time, and it was such a fun way to spend some extra bonus time with my community. What I love so much about the game is that the characters, adorable. The world, vibrant. The music is fun and catchy. And notably, the possum literally screams hilariously throughout the game a lot. And most importantly, I would say, the food looks absolutely delicious, and there is a lot of it, and you definitely feel the need to want to get to it. But I will say, I want to note how difficult this game actually is. I was caught a lot of times by the puppy police officers, when I thought this game might be a little simple and easy, to be honest. But what's so great is this is one of those games that rewards you even if you lose, allowing you to unlock more and more items that'll actually help you out on your food stealing missions as you get further in. So even if you get caught, you're still kind of progressing in the game anyway. The items you can get are weird and wacky, and you actually do need to utilize some skill to figure out what will be most effective, while also not having to think a whole lot and just enjoy the crazy vibes. Now that you've heard my pros, let's get into my cons for this game. Honestly, I don't really have a con. Like, this is the most, like, little con I could possibly think of. The only con I could think of was I don't love that if you pass a checkpoint that you've already passed, it will make that your newest checkpoint. So, like, if I go all the way back to where I started in the game and there's a checkpoint over there, it'll make that my newest checkpoint, and then I'll have to run all the way back to wherever I just was and want to go from the next time. I wish there was a mechanic that was like, do you want this to be your next checkpoint? Press A or something. Or that you couldn't use old checkpoints as your newest checkpoint. That's the littlest con I can think of. Overall, this game was amazing. It was full of laughs, and I do think that this is sure to bring on a good time, bring on a little bit of chaos, but it still maintains a cute and cozy vibe, and I definitely think it's one worth checking out. Also, very notably, at a super fair price point. Moving on to our next game on the list, this game is called Garden Buddies. And you can play Garden Buddies on PC, Mac, and Nintendo Switch. I played it on Nintendo Switch, and this was another one very kindly gifted to me, so thank you so much to Red Deer Games for giving me the key to check this one out. Let me tell you a little bit about Garden Buddies. In Garden Buddies, you will get to unleash your inner gardener and cultivate a vibrant garden with your adorable companion, Mutzi. While finding joy and inner peace, you'll get to nurture your virtual garden, overcome challenges, and celebrate achievements together. In Garden Buddies, you'll get to experience a tranquil oasis, which brings calm and balance. The game features a story mode with enchanting narratives and heartwarming interactions, multiple mini-games, a soothing soundtrack, and a healing experience for your mind, including essential life skills such as mindfulness exercises, stress reduction techniques, and emotional well-being practices. Now that I've told you a bit about the game, let's get into my pros. I love the focus that this game puts on mindfulness and self-care. At the end of each day in the game, you'll be given a technique to help with relaxation, which I think is very sweet. Overall, the game is very sweet, giving you tons of positive affirmations and lots of love through the screen. I also really enjoyed how the characters looked. I'm fully convinced that these characters could be in an animated film, because oftentimes I felt like this was more of a short film that I was watching rather than a game I was playing in. I will also note that I enjoyed the bits of humor spread in the dialogue, specifically the self-awareness that it had when you were building things, like a full-on wooden structure but somehow only using flowers as your resource to build it. And the decorating in the game was very relaxing as well, and I enjoyed the fact that the garden buddies are the ones that do all the resource collecting, so you can really just sit back and vibe. And the game had a really nice variety of mini games, some of which were very relaxing. My favorite one being this one that literally just had you stack rocks, and it was a little bit more difficult than I thought it would be. As well as some chaotic mini games, like punching a frog in the tummy to get him to spit up a rock that he accidentally swallowed. It was definitely a nice contrast. Now that you've heard my pros, let's get into my cons. This game is 1 hour long. It is an hour long, which would be fine if it were not $15, in my opinion. While you can replay the minigames and just work on decorating, I don't think there is that much there to justify that price tag, as I don't really think there is a lot of replayability to this one. You're pretty much paying for like the sweet one-time experience and the message of the game, I think, rather than the contents of the actual gameplay. I will also note that I had quite long loading screens on the Switch that took up most of my hour-long experience. And another con I have is that I don't enjoy, as you zoom in and out, some areas of the garden kind of get this like blurred and out of focus effect when you're not completely dealing with them. And it did serve to make the garden maybe feel a bit more dynamic, but my eyeballs just didn't love it so much. And a small detail, they had such adorable characters, and not all of them were like, you know, pieces of fruit or vegetable or tiny little dudes. There were certain characters that was like a bat or like a frog that were bigger characters, and they don't actually go in the garden. They like stand out on the sidelines and they watch everybody else in the garden when you're decorating. I just thought it would have been cute if they were included. I kind of like looked, I know they were like watching from the sidelines, but I kind of just like felt bad for them the whole time. It's not that big of a deal, but something I wanted to mention. Overall, I did enjoy my experience playing Garden Buddies. I do think this is a really sweet experience. It did have me in tears by the end, but I just think for the price tag, I wanted there to be a bit more, as I don't really see myself replaying this one anytime soon. Moving on to our next game on the list, this one is called Freaky Trip. And you can play Freaky Trip on PC and Nintendo Switch. I played it on Nintendo Switch. I have to say it didn't really run great on Nintendo Switch, but we'll get into that in a second. But this was one that was also very kindly gifted to me, so thank you so much to Red Deer Games for giving me the opportunity to check out this game. Let me tell you a little bit about this game. Freaky Trip is an absurd and humorous point-and-click adventure puzzle game. You'll need to put your imagination to the test and go on a bit of a freaky rescue trip. You'll need to help rescue Salsy's beloved cockapoo from an unknown danger. In Freaky Trip, you'll encounter many logical puzzles that you can find pretty much everywhere. And in this game, the puzzles are not as easy as they may look, as is everything in the game. You'll need to think outside the box, be unpredictable, and try to succeed on every level. Along the way, while you're solving the puzzles, you'll also meet a surprising cast of characters on your journey, and you can even try to help them so that they'll help you out on your mission. Pretty much, it is a comedic little freaky trip of a game. Now that I've told you about the game, let's get into my pros. I really love this game's art so much. It's weird and it's freaky, but it is in an adorable way. Like, I really liked how each of the scenes looked. And I can note that I love how outside the box really does make you think. However, that is pretty much all I enjoyed in this game. So let me get into my cons for this one. I'm really disappointed. I didn't love this game as much as I thought I would. I really thought this was gonna be like my kind of game. I just mentioned it in a recent video as well as a game that was an upcoming game I was excited about. And I thought it would be perfect for me because it was a little bit weird, but definitely cute, and I love a puzzle game. Overall, I just found it to be a really frustrating experience. You're pretty much just thrown into these puzzles with little to no guidance at all. There is never any dialogue, and in my opinion, the story wasn't very captivating or clear. The game does give you hints, but oftentimes I did not find them very helpful at all. There is also not a lot of logic or realism to the puzzles, so it feels totally random. And I feel like the game is pretty much just you like ferociously clicking on everything all the time to figure out what is right. And also sometimes there are sound effects in the game that don't stop repeating and they just go on and on and on, and I had to turn my volume off because I found them to be a little bit annoying. I also want to note on the Nintendo Switch, I had so many bugs that I was not even able to finish this game that is only about an hour to 2 hours long. I wasn't even able to make it through it because I had game-breaking bugs quite frequently. Other than the bug that just had the game completely crash, the game has really long loading screens, and there were many times where I clicked on something that was right, and I needed to click on it, but nothing would actually happen, so I would have to try to click on it like a bunch more times for it to actually happen. Also, this is another one. The full game, it's not that many puzzles. It's gonna only take you about an hour to 2 hours long, I think, and it's $17. And I just don't know if it's worth $17 in my opinion. Overall, I can really appreciate the idea of this game and the style of it. It's quirky and weird, and I love that. I just really didn't love the execution as much as the idea of it. And the final game on the list is not a game I anticipated reviewing, to be honest. But it had to be in here because it's this is my most played game of the month. It came out this month as well. I have written a formal review for this game, which you might find surprising, but this next game is called, I believe I'm pronouncing it right, it's called SUIKA game, or more so known as the watermelon game. And you could play this game on PC, Mac, Android, and on Nintendo Switch. I played it on Nintendo Switch. It ran great. This was not gifted to me. I purchased this one. It was $2.99, and I purchased it with my own money, and it's one of my favorite games of the month. Let me tell you about this game in case you haven't heard about it. This simple merge puzzle game is not as simple as it looks. This game will take the basic premise of a merge-style puzzle where you need to combine different things to make other things and get more points, but this one is in the style of fruit. You're given a box of fruit and different evolutions. There is an order to the system, and the smallest fruits become the largest fruits if you combine them correctly. But in SUIKA game, there is a physics-based component, which makes the game a bit trickier, as the fruits won't always necessarily fall just where you want them to. It's your job in this game to get as many points as possible by securing the most merges and going from the smallest fruit of a cherry to the biggest fruit of the watermelon. Okay, now that I've told you about the game, I want to start before I get into the pros and cons and just mention that this game has kind of become like a viral game. That's how I heard about it. I just out of nowhere started seeing all these people play this game, and I want to let you know my expectation was that this game with peace and love was gonna be stupid. I was like, there's no way like I'm gonna be into this game. This game feels like any other mobile game, whatever. It's not my cup of tea. Oh boy, was I wrong! So let's get into the pros. Honestly, all of the game is kind of a pro for me. I really have been enjoying this. There's nothing that this game really does wrong in my eyes. It is such an inexpensive game, and I think it brings so much fun. While it is absolutely simple in its premise, it's a merge game where you need to make combinations of fruit to make bigger ones, and the more you do that, the more points you get. But the game has such a very cute aesthetic in its original version and also in its Halloween update that I think makes it even cozier. But the best part of this game, in my opinion, is its physics-based component. Unlike most merge puzzles, this one doesn't use stagnant tiles that drop into place. This one uses round fruit that behaves as if they were real pieces of fruit bouncing around and being dropped. They roll, slide, and fall all over the place, which I think makes this game much more difficult, and in my opinion, much more interesting than traditional merge games. Now, moving on to the cons, I only really have one. If I had to pick a con, it's just that I don't love sometimes when you make a big move, like if you merge like a big piece of fruit, sometimes all your fruit at the bottom totally just fling up to the top, and the whole point of the game is to not fill up the top. If you fill up the entire box, you've lost. Sometimes a piece of fruit will just like fling based off of the reaction of the merge, and I feel like you shouldn't lose based off of the reaction of the other fruit. I feel like you should only lose if you fill up the box because you've run out of moves. But maybe that's just me trying to take the easy way out. That's really the only con that I could think of. Overall, I really get the hype for this game. I've lost many hours in it, as this is a great game that you can play either focusing completely on or just playing it mindlessly while you do something else, and I think that the makings of a really good cozy game. It's inexpensive, simple, but effective. And there you have it! That was my review of every cozy game I played this month. Now, to be honest, I did play more games this month, but I didn't play them enough that I felt like I was ready to review them. So definitely stay tuned, because I will be reviewing every cozy game I played in 2023 at the end of the year, and there may be some games that weren't included in each month's video that I get into there. I want to know your thoughts down below. What was your very favorite game of October, and what wasn't? This out of every review video that I've done, and I've been doing these monthly reviews since March, I think this is the one where I've had the most negative feedback, as I oftentimes find that these review videos go like me liking every game and mostly just being filled with pros. So interested to hear what you thought about today's video, where I feel as though I gave you quite a bit of cons. Let me know down below. Please be sure to click the lovely little like button on the way out, as well as subscribe for more cozy, chaotic content. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you in the next one, and bye-bye!